What's up guys, Kyle here again and feeling pretty good today. It's like 9 a.m. I'm sipping on an Aldi brand Diet Coke. I feel like that's a whole mood. We're gonna get into some comments. Let's do it. The first comment I would like to address is a comment that I received probably about 20 times on my Marshall JCM 900 video. Yes, we're still milking that one because people are still commenting on it on a daily basis and telling me everything that I'm doing wrong in dialing the amp in. So I am always open to suggestions. I am always open to feedback, especially when it comes to amps that I'm like not super familiar with, but I'm really familiar with the JCM 900. And other than the one guy that told me about the dial on the effects loop, which I was actually not previously aware of, all of the other suggestions or, the comments telling me how I was doing everything incorrectly were basically related to the master volume on the amp. And it was pretty much everybody saying the same thing. They were saying, it's a Marshall, you have to turn the master volume up in order for it to sound good. So I wanted to reply to that and say, here is how you guys are wrong. So the whole you have to turn the Marshall up in order to get it to sound good philosophy really comes from vintage Marshalls, 1959 Super Leads, 1987s, basically anything up to the JMP and JCM 800 era is where that comes from. And the reasoning is Marshalls would saturate the power section and the transformers in a certain way that made it really pleasing sounding for the music at the time. So yes, if you're playing 60s, 70s, 80s rock and roll of any sort, cranking a Marshall up and getting the most out of the amp, the pre and the power amp, absolutely, yeah, that's the way to go for sure. I don't dispute that. But if you're using them for metal, and yes, we addressed this on a previous episode, Marshalls as early as the JMP 2203 can absolutely be used for metal, and you cannot tell me otherwise. Then you do not want to saturate your power section to the point where you are compressing the tubes and getting the saturation out of the transformers. I addressed this, I'm pretty sure, in a video not too long ago, but for metal, all of the modern metal amps that you guys love are built with clean power sections. They are built with transformers that can handle way more than we should be throwing at them. They are built to stay clean. That is one of the reasons why most of them are biased a little bit on the cooler side, because as a metal player, you need that headroom in order to get the most punch out of your amps, because once you start saturating the power section of an amplifier, a couple of things start happening. The tubes start compressing, and when the tubes compress, basically the mids get pushed forward and the lows and the highs get shaved off of the power section. So you get a very mid-forward sound, which again, if you're playing rock and roll classic rock, not a bad thing. It's actually something that you're probably gonna want for your tone. But when you're playing metal, when your lows are all compressed, that means that they kind of disappear. You don't get the punch out of the palm mutes, out of your chugs. Your palm mutes actually usually kind of sound a little bit mushy because everything's all compressed together. And the same thing happens with the transformers. When you start to saturate those transformers, they start to lose their punch. Yes, they're providing a whole host of other different things. I can't get into the science of it because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just taking the words from people who are much smarter than myself, as I've talked to a bunch of builders about why turning up Marshalls makes them sound better for certain types of music. And a lot of it has to do with that power tube and power transformer saturation. And when things start to saturate, when you really start to push the power section of those older Marshalls, that's where they really start to sweeten up and sound really good for those types of music. But again, for metal, man, you want that headroom. You do not want to saturate the power section because then you lose your punch, you lose your palm mute definition, you lose that cutting high end because it just all gets compressed and everything really just kind of gets focused in the mid-range. So for all of you guys who told me that I needed to turn up the master volume to make the JCM 900 sound good, no, I absolutely disagree, and there's nothing that you can say to me that will make me change my mind, because chances are we are not playing the same type of music. We are not going for the same type of tones. If you're here on this channel, you're here for thrash metal and hardcore tones. You are not here for classic rock stuff. I don't play that stuff. And if I did, a lot of my dedicated followers on this channel would probably leave. So, therefore, we're gonna stick to our guns. We're gonna stick to what we are good at and why people enjoy this channel, and that is for the belligerent amateur power chords, which require lots of headroom in the power section and not to overly compress it. That's my answer to all of your comments out there on that subject. All right, guys, this next comment is literally a novel from this dude, Jeffrey Centra, and it is pretty much everything that I talk about in a number of my videos. One of the main things is basically boosting amps is wrong, and everything that I'm trying to achieve with my tones is impossible in a live setting, but everything I do is live setting because I don't record with IRs. I record an amp through a cab with an SM57, which is pretty much what you're gonna find the vast majority of the time in a live setting. Most sound guys are gonna throw a Sennheiser E609 or an SM57 on your cabinet, and most people are gonna be using V30 loaded cabs in the metal and hardcore arena. So yeah, it literally got to the point where it was so nonsensical that I couldn't finish the comment. I get a lot of people on this channel, and I've noticed this a lot in the guitar community, where there's just a lot of people who love to go on other YouTubers' channels and basically tell them that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing as a guitarist because they're a YouTuber. And that being a YouTuber essentially does not make you a real world guitarist. Which, you know what? There may be some instances where that is true. There may be some YouTube guitarists out there that strictly, you know, only play in their bedroom. But who cares? Like, even if that is the case, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't mean that you can't be a knowledgeable guitarist. More than likely, if you're a guitar YouTuber who only plays in your bedroom, you're doing all sorts of production stuff in order to get your demo tracks, and you're extremely knowledgeable when it comes to getting great modern productions. So pretty much no matter what you're doing, if you're a YouTube guitarist, you have knowledge that is useful in a certain situation that is helpful to your audience, and that is why people come to your channel. Now, when it comes to me, I am a terrible guitarist, but I love playing guitar. I love playing metal and hardcore music, and I love doing that in band settings. And I also love exploring gear, and that is literally what my channel is based around. And I just find it really funny to have all these people come on my channel and basically tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have experience in certain situations, without knowing me and my channel or knowing me and my history as a guitarist whatsoever. I think that is just a sign of the internet these days. As soon as somebody sees something that they don't like, they really have to, for some reason, go out there and voice their opinion as if what they're saying matters, and going out and typing this, you know, stupid comment, or in this case, a novel, which was basically nonsense, filled with terrible grammar, filled with typos. I could barely keep up with it. Somehow makes them feel validated and feel heard. But in reality, and I will tell anybody who wants to leave those comments on my channel the same thing that I told this guy. Please do leave those comments, because number one, it helps the algorithm, and then more people end up seeing my videos because you're angry at me and feel like you want to take a shot at me because of what I do here on my channel, as if it's somehow harming anybody. And number two, you probably need some more hobbies or some better people in your life to take up your time. That way you're not going around on the internet and basically just spewing hate at everybody that you have some sort of minor disagreement with. Like I said, I just think that that's a sign of the times. That's basically what the internet has become, is people feeling validated by going around and spewing their crap to everybody that they don't agree with, and somehow feeling like they won some sort of battle, which in reality that they were only fighting on their side and nobody on the other side really cares. So I just wanted to address that. I found it really comical, and I get this stuff a decent amount. I mean, my comment section generally on my videos is very, very positive, and I appreciate the audience that I have very much. In fact, it really, most of the time, reading the comments kind of brightens my day. But I definitely get a lot of ridiculous comments as well, and just people who I can tell are probably older dudes who just don't really have anything better to do and want to come on somebody's YouTube channel and tell them how they're doing everything wrong. So naturally, I had to call them out and bring some attention to it, and I'll probably link down to his comment below as well, just because it was actually kind of a funny read. It was a lot of nonsensical stuff, and you guys will probably get a kick out of it. I can't fit the whole thing on the screen, so I'm just gonna do that. Saw your gear purge on Facebook Marketplace. Jesus frickin' Christ, you have a lot of stuff. I'm eyeballing the Jet City JCA50H, but I'm closer to Scranton, thinking real hard though. Yeah guys, usually about once a month I'll post just a big general post on Facebook and a lot of the forum or the marketplace for sale groups that are guitar related, and just list literally everything I'm selling, and generally it ends up getting a decent amount of attention, and I end up selling a decent amount of stuff. So keep your eyes out for that if you guys are in those groups whatsoever. I'm actually going to be posting one this weekend because I have a ton of new stuff that I got to get rid of here. I really have been kind of just getting back into amps. I know that sounds silly because that's what my channel is kind of based on, but I have been kind of messing around with guitars and cabinets and speakers and microphones a lot more than amps over the past couple of months. And recently I've just kind of become re-interested in amps, and there are a bunch of new amps that I would like to get here in Belligerent Amateur Studios so that I can get them on the channel for you guys, and so that I can try them, because there's a lot of, I'm finding out there's a lot of amps that I haven't played yet that I would really like to play. I was kind of at a point for a while where I'm like, I feel like I've played everything I want to play, but then I really kind of did some digging around, and I'm like, no, there's a lot of amps that I need to get my hands on that I have yet to play. So my passion for the whole amp thing has kind of been reignited, which in turn has kind of reignited my passion for the channel, because the amps are really what I enjoy doing most. And when I was not as interested in the amp thing, I kind of noticed that my enthusiasm wasn't where I would like it to be in the videos, you know? So unfortunately, I'm human. I go through phases. I go through you know, different bouts of motivation and not being motivated whatsoever. So I would like to try to, you know, make sure I'm focusing on the right things on the channel at the right times. I did a microphone video the other day that I was really excited about. I knew it was not going to get a lot of views, but pretty much nobody watched it. So a lot of you guys had said that you would be interested in mics and recording stuff, and I got, you know, pretty deep into that. I got a few mics here that I still have to do videos and everything for, but if you guys aren't into it, let me know. I mean, the views kind of speak for themselves, but I know that this amp mainly focuses on guitar tube amps and guitar cabs and stuff, but you know, I'd like to mix it up a little bit just to keep things fresh and to help you guys, hopefully. But if you're genuinely not interested in the content, then let me know, because I won't waste my time with it. But yeah, that got off on a whole tangent. Of course it did, because it's me talking. So really where I was going with that is, on top of the Facebook Marketplace posts, these big gear purge posts that I make, I also started an Instagram, which I mentioned on my last episode, where I'm going to be posting all my gear that I have for sale currently. I've got probably 20 items posted there, and I'm gonna be posting a lot more here very soon. So if you're not familiar, that account name is Belligerent Gear Sales on Instagram. I have linked to it every video that I've done in like the past 2 weeks or so. Go down there, follow that Instagram account, and that way you can be up to date with everything that I currently have for sale. And every time I post stuff, I'll be sure to put a post on there as far as my big gear purge goes as well. That way you guys have a list of everything that I have, and then there will be individual posts for everything that I'm selling with a little bit more detail. So if you want to buy some of the gear that I have for sale, that's the best way to do it. I thought you were joking when saying you would do a pop punk type song, but man, you really nailed that sound. Not typical for your channel, but definitely a good showcase and cool to do something new. Thank you very much, man. That genuinely means a lot to me, because I have never written music like that before in my life. And as a big fan of pop punk and folky style punk, like Gaslight Anthem and Menzingers are two of my favorite bands, period. I love music like that, and I grew up on stuff like Newfound Glory and Green Day and old Blink-182. And that was kind of my segue into punk rock like Rancid and NoFX, which was then my segue into the underground metal and hardcore scene. So that music still holds a dear place in my heart, and I still listen to stuff like that very much. But yeah, that mic demo that I did, I recorded everything. I recorded live drums myself, I recorded the guitar and the bass, and really just kind of wanted to try something different because I'm like, okay, I know I can write thrash metal stuff, I know I can write hardcore stuff, but what can we do differently? So I decided to write like a pop punk style song, and I thought it turned out really good. I was really happy with the outcome, including like the mix. That was the first time I'd ever tried mixing everything myself that I recorded analog. Like there were no plugins used whatsoever. So I was really happy with that. Again, I knew not a lot of people would probably watch it because it was a mic from an unknown brand, and it's a condenser mic. It's not for, you know, metal guitar tones, but I like trying new things and everything. So when I get comments like that, there were a few comments that said that they really enjoyed the track in that video. It really means a lot to me. It really does, and I appreciate it. And if you guys end up going back and watching that video at all and you want to let me know what you think about me doing tracks like that here and there as opposed to everything being a thrash and a hardcore song, let me know, because I'd love to do more stuff like that as well. But at the same time, if you guys are here specifically for the thrash and hardcore riffs, because that's what my channel is based on, I have no problem doing that stuff either, because that stuff is pretty second nature to me, and I love writing a good thrash and hardcore riff. So yeah, again, man, I really genuinely appreciate that feedback. All you guys who commented on that video, there weren't a ton of comments, weren't a ton of views, but the comments were positive regarding the track that I made, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So with that being said, we're gonna call it a day on this viewers comments episode. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. This one is being recorded on a Friday and will be posted Saturday. Week was crazy, but hope that you guys have a great weekend. If you have comments for the next episode, leave them down below on this video and every other video over the next couple of weeks, and I'll comb through them and find the good ones. And if you want to support my channel, all the usual still applies. My Sweetwater affiliate link is down in the description. My Eargasm, my DistroKid, all the affiliate stuff can be found in the description of this video. And if you really want to help me out directly, you can consider becoming a member of my Patreon community and adding your name to this list of very fine people. We're getting into some pedal giveaways and stuff this month. I'm finally able to give back to you guys. It's just been so overloaded with content and stuff that I had to get out the door, but we're gonna give away a couple of things this month to Patreon members only. So if you want to get in on those little pedal giveaways and some other cool stuff that I have coming up in the near future, sign up for the Patreon and it would be greatly appreciated. Seriously, thanks so much to everybody who has been helping the channel out through the Patreon. You guys are the real MVPs. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.